Hey there, thanks for checking out Vuo. I'm Travis, and in this tutorial, we'll create a composition that utilizes a feedback loop in order to count upward. So this is our composition in complete form, and this is our feedback loop. So first we'll run this composition and get a visual for what it creates, and we'll walk through what some of the nodes perform in the composition, and then we'll delete it and build the composition together step by step. So let's go ahead and run it. Cool. Whoops. So it creates a blank white window, and then every 1 second it counts upon it, so it prints the number going incrementally up in the count. This node is responsible for timing. It tells the other nodes when it's time to perform their function, and it's doing so every 1 second. These two nodes work together to utilize a feedback loop to count upward, and this node creates this blank white window and displays upon it the information that it receives. Cool. Alright, so let's go ahead and stop it, and now let's delete it and build it together. So you can come at this or any composition from any angle. For this composition, I'm going to start with timing. So the first node I'm going to choose is fire periodically. And I'll drag and drop that here. The function of fire periodically is to set things in motion, and it does this by triggering events. Events are fired outward from this port, and all an event is the message to do your job now. So it triggers events and it tells the other nodes it's linked to when it's time to perform their function. And we can set how often it triggers an event here. So right now the default setting is 1 second. That's perfect for us. If we wanted to, we could change that number. Okay, so we're setting things in motion every 1 second. So the first thing we want to do is start to count. We want to originate the number 1. So the next node I'll choose is hold value. You can see there's a slew of options, and we'll choose the one that says integer because we'll be dealing with whole numbers. So I'll drag and drop that here. Hold value performs multiple functions, and the first thing it's going to do is allow us to establish our initial value of 1. So I'll go ahead and double click, enter a 1 here, and let's go ahead and link these two together. So I have the event coming out of fire periodically, and I want to drag and drop that to the refresh port here. So I'll just drag and drop and it automatically connects. And the way hold value is set up is when it receives an event here, it makes a decision. It looks down to the initial value port and the new value port, and it chooses one of these. If an event has ever occurred in new value, so if an event has ever gone directly into the new value port, hold value will always choose the value found here. If an event has never occurred directly in new value, it will always choose the value found in the initial value. Cool. So for our first event coming through, hold value will choose the value of 1. Hold value will also perform some other functions that will allow the feedback loop to work for us, and we'll get into those a little bit later. Alright, so we already have the number 1. We already have the beginning of our count. So the next thing we can think about is displaying that count on a window. So we want to create a blank window and send the 1 to it. So the next node we'll choose is display console window. So I'll drag and drop that here, and display console window can perform several functions, and the one we'll talk about for this tutorial is simply displaying information on a window. So it creates a blank white window, and then any information that it receives in this port, it displays upon it. So we'll drag in the chosen value of 1 for our first event coming out of hold value and drop it on the line to right port. Cool. So you'll notice this bar automatically pops up. That's a type converter. And what's happening is hold value is currently communicating with integers, which are in a binary format that humans don't read so well. So display console window identifies this and automatically converts the integers to text, which humans read a little more easily. Alright, so as of right now, every 1 second we're sending an event to hold value, and hold value will consistently choose the value of 1 since an event has never occurred in new value. And it's going to send that 1 onto the window to be displayed. So let's go ahead and run our composition as is and see what happens. It's a blank white window, and we're printing 1 every 1 second. Perfect. So let's stop that. And now let's work on counting upward. So the next node we'll choose is add. And we'll choose the integer add node and drag and drop that here. Alright, so we want to take that initial value of 1, and in addition to sending it to the window to be displayed, we want to take it and start preparing for our next event. We want to start counting upward. We want to turn that 1 into a 2. So we'll drag and drop that into the N0 port of the add node. The way the add node is set up is really simple. It takes the N0 port and then the value found in the N1 port, the values found in both of these, and it adds them together, and then it outputs the sum here. So if we enter in a 1 here, add will take the initial value of 1, add it to this one, and send the sum of 2 out this port. So we'll take the value of 2 and bring that around to the new value input port. Cool. So now that we've connected all our pieces, let's go ahead and pause and give this composition some color. So let's give fire periodically orange. I'm just right clicking, and we'll tint the nodes that are relative to our count green, and we'll give our display violet. Great. So back to our composition. You may be thinking, wait, if you bring the value of 2 to new value, so that event is still traveling with the information of the value 2, wouldn't hold value immediately choose the value of 2 and send that out the output port to the window to be displayed, and at the same time down to the add node to become 3? Wouldn't that 3 come up? And wouldn't that endlessly cycle, or wouldn't that feed back? So here's where some of the other functions of hold value come into place. So you'll notice these curved bars on the back of the input ports. Those are event walls, and those perform a key function for this composition right here. So when that 2 comes into here, that event wall blocks the event from traveling any further. It stops the event and it stops the information, and it holds the information and remembers the value of 2 here. So that initial value of 2 will stop here and be held or remembered, and nothing will happen until another event comes into the receptor port here. Okay, cool. So let's walk through a few events from beginning to end and try to get a feel for how this composition flows. So in our first second, an event will be fired out from fire periodically, and we'll go to hold value. Hold value will choose between the initial value of 1 and new value. Since an event has never occurred in new value, hold value will choose the value of 1. It'll send that 1 to the window to be displayed. At the same time, it'll send that 1 down to the add node where 1 will be added. It will become 2. The value of 2 will travel up to the new value port. It will stop here, and the value of 2 will be remembered. In the next second, fire periodically will trigger an event to hold value. Hold value will look between the initial value of 1 and the new value. The value of 2 is stored here, and since an event has occurred, hold value will choose the number 2 and send that 2 onto the window to be displayed. At the same time, it'll travel down to the add node. We'll add 1 to the value of 2, it'll become 3. And the value of 3 will travel up to new value and stop here and be remembered. We'll walk through one more event to just make sure we're on track. We'll do it a little more quickly. So fire periodically will generate an event. To hold value will choose the remembered value of 3. The value of 3 will go on to the window to be displayed, and will also go down to the add node, become 4, and the 4 will come up to new value and stop here until the next event. And we're counting. Great. So let's go ahead and run this composition and make sure it works. Great. So our blank white window created by display console window, and then every 1 second an event is triggered and our feedback loop is counting upward for us. Perfect. And then, just for good measure, we can interact with our composition in real time if we'd like. So now, as this is running, we just changed it so we're counting upward by 5s. Cool. Alright, that's it. Thanks so much for checking out Vuo. If you'd like to learn more about Vuo development or our plans for Vuo, you can check out vuo.org, and we hope that you'll consider becoming a part of the Vuo community and supporting Vuo by purchasing a subscription. Alright, we hope the tutorial was helpful, and thanks again for checking out Vuo.